Everything I've done over the course of the last year will know, one of my big focuses now that most of Brexit is over has been the rise of China, or to be more accurate, the rise of the Chinese Communist Party and their totalitarian attempt to shut down democracy, to take over the world. Now, I've been warning about this, and I've been warning about just how many people in big business, in government, in civil services across the West are being tempted by Chinese money. I was worried that with Donald Trump leaving the White House, the Americans might suddenly become very pro-China. I have to say at the moment, that, I'm pleased to say, isn't happening. But some really shocking news in the last 48 hours. I'm stunned by it. You've heard, of course, of the Five Eyes intelligence service. America, Canada, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. It is the closest intelligent network in the world. English-speaking nations with common cultures and histories, and actually, at least I thought, similar fears. So they work together, they share intelligence at the highest possible level, dealing with issues such as global terrorism. But the Five Eyes increasingly have been worried about the rise of China, about Chinese military activity in the South China Seas and elsewhere. So the absolutely shocking, stunning statement that has come from the New Zealand Foreign Minister, backed up by the New Zealand Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, that effectively they are launching a new close alliance with China, and they are effectively leaving the Five Eyes intelligence network. We have just lost one of our closest and oldest allies in the world, because they're now completely in the hands of the Chinese Communist Party. New Zealand have sold their souls to communist China. And why? Well, because lots of their exports go there. And it is just, I think, the worst example yet of what China is doing to our world, to our allies. What do we do about it? Well, remember that Boris Johnson, of course, wanted to sign up to Huawei, that Boris Johnson calls himself a Sinophile, that many of members of Boris Johnson's own family have incredibly close links to China. And if you go back and look at George Osborne, David Cameron, you see much the same game. You only have to look at the non-executive directors of Huawei to see people who've been at the very top of government and intelligence in this country have joined that board. So the Chinese are very, very good at doing this and doing it with money. Luckily, there is now pressure coming within the country, coming within the Conservative Party on Boris Johnson. And overnight, I guess a slightly bit of good news. One of the things I campaigned for as UKIP leader was, why are we giving foreign aid to China? Why are we giving foreign aid to a country that's getting richer and richer? Why are we giving foreign aid to a country that imprisons every year hundreds of thousands of its own minorities in re-education camps? Well, overnight, the foreign aid budget for China has been cut. It's now down to £900,000 a year. Now, you might say to me, that's £900,000 a year too much, but it is at least a step in the right direction. So what can we all do? If you share with me this concern, if you're as shocked as I am about New Zealand, at the end of the day, China is going to become the most powerful and by far the most dangerous country in the world if they continue to get richer and richer. And they will continue to get richer and richer if you go on buying the amount of Chinese products you currently are. It's not easy, because if you buy things on Amazon, and hey, lockdown has forced us all towards Amazon, but if you buy things on Amazon, they don't even tell you where things are manufactured. But please, please, if you want to stop the rise of this horrible communist regime, do your best. Buy fewer. Everything I've done over the course of the last year will know, one of my big focuses now that most of Brexit is over has been the rise of China, or to be more accurate, the rise of the Chinese Communist Party and their totalitarian attempt to shut down democracy, to take over the world. Now, I've been warning about this, and I've been warning about just how many people in big business, in government, in civil services.
British political figure and commentator Nigel Farage sparked debate in 2021 when he claimed that New Zealand sold its soil to China. His remarks were part of a broader discussion on China's influence in the Asian Pacific region and how Western-aligned countries were responding to Beijing's rise. Farage that New Zealand had become economically dependent on China, specifically thought agriculture export, trade agreements, and investment partnerships. According to him, his reliance risked placing New Zealand in a position where its foreign policies discussions could be influenced directly or indirectly by Beijing. He pointed to several discussions made by the New Zealand government at the time, suggesting that Wellington had taken a softer or more conscious stance on issues involving China compared to other members of the Five Eyes intelligence alliance such as the US, the UK, Australia, and Canada. Farage claimed his approach reflected a willingness to trade benefits over democratic values and international pressures. New Zealand government, however, rejected these criticisms, officially impressed that the country maintained an independent foreign policies that the China was based on economically, not political compromises. They also insisted that New Zealand continued to uphold its own principles on human rights, security, and international corporations. Analysts at the time noted that the debate highlighted a broader global struggle balanced economically, diplomatically with geographically tensions as China influence expanded. Farage statement thought political charged the growing concern among Western politicians about China search into traditional aligned nations. New Zealand government, however, rejected these. British political figure and commentator Nigel Farage sparked debate in 2021 when he claimed that New Zealand sold its soil to China. His remarks were part of a broader discussion on China's influence in the Asian Pacific region and how Western aligned countries were responding to Beijing's rise. Afraid that New Zealand had become economically dependent on China, specifically thought agriculture export, trade agreements, and investment partnerships. According to him, his reliance risked placing New Zealand in a position where its foreign policies discussions could be influenced directly or indirectly by Beijing. He pointed to several discussions made by the New Zealand government at the time, suggesting that Wellington had taken a softer or more conscious stance on issues involving China compared to other members